Hey, so here's the question we were kicking around, and I think you're like old school. I don't want to bias it, but I think I already know your answer.
Don't lead the witness.
All right. But if the season ended today, let's just say they end up losing this series, was this a successful season for the Caps or not?
Every player wants to win the Stanley Cup. Everyone wants to get to the finals, and it's so tough to get there. I could say it's a success in some areas because you got past all of that past noise that you have. The social media noise makes it even worse. But ultimately, every player wants to win the Stanley Cup. I think as a franchise, getting over that hurdle, though, that is a success. But there's nothing like getting the hardware, getting your name on the cup. That's what every player wants. It's going to hurt if and when they don't get it. If they win it, it's going to be the best feeling they've ever had as a professional athlete. So, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. It's easy to say it wouldn't be a success, but still, it's a major accomplishment to get this far. You're going to be down to the top 4 teams in the National Hockey League. It matters most right now. They want to go further, but it's a lot easier if it didn't work out from here to not be content, but there's still a lot of positive feelings. Everything else just is pain.
Alan,
I'm with you.
Has this team surprised you this year?
Well, it surprised me in the fact that they were able to come together and finally get a group of players to, stick to their roles and know who they were. We didn't have all the stuff in the past. You didn't have third liners and fourth liners thinking they should be on the first line. They all want to get there. But everyone here, there's a lot of tough love shown by Barry Trotz this year, scratching rookies that, necessarily weren't playing the right way. And, that's like all the little details of the game. When you look at the defensemen, they went with 2 rookies for most of the year, not necessarily by design. But what I do like about this team and how they did surprise me is they came together at the right time. They started to adapt. They started to improvise. They started to play different ways. In the past, we saw the exact same game plan every single game through the season, through the playoffs, and that's a little bit broad and a little bit general, but I didn't see enough change. Here in the playoffs, I've seen them adapt to what other teams are doing, improvise on the fly, get creative where they needed to, and emotionally than they ever have had. And our guys are getting older here. Ovechkin, Backstrom, you look at the leaders, they're getting older. They're not supposed to be getting better. Ovi played better this year, but mix of youth, the throwaway players, Chase on, Connolly, Devontae Smith-Pelly, they really stepped up to another level. And then I think Barry Trotz as a coach, best season he's ever had because he did a lot of things that he hadn't done in the past. I think in the playoffs, we're talking about Braden Holtby, we're talking about the Kuznetsov goal, Ovechkin, but Barry Trotz has gone to another level in these playoffs, and maybe it's because he doesn't have a contract. He's thinking, what do I got to lose?
Talking to Alan May from NBC Sports Washington as we talk about Caps, Lightning. He's at Kettler Capitals Iceplex. I wanted to ask you about Holtby because we don't have the trained eye that you have. As a former pro, what are you seeing that he's doing different than he did when he was struggling during the regular season and they went through that whole reset button and reset with Braden Holtby? What is he doing differently that he's now being successful?
Well, I think we've had 6 awesome years out of Braden Holtby, and it's all of a sudden 6 weeks were kind of defining his career, and I thought that was unfair. I think what he's doing right now is when he came into the league as a younger goaltender, he was always trying to prove himself, and I think he was mentally and emotionally fatigued. That took a toll on him physically during February and part of March. He goes on a mental health vacation. He goes to a little bit of goaltending school. But what he's doing right now, I think when the brain and the body are in line, that's always when you're best as an athlete. Really, any part of life, that's all where it needs to be. You're going to be another level. But right now, because he's feeling so good about himself, his confidence is there. He's not questioning his technique when he comes out. I think his reflexes are faster than he's ever been. When you look at a lot of these saves, you see how flat his pads are on the ice, and his 5-hole is sealed. But I really like the way he's tracking pucks right now. When he went in Game 2 in the Columbus series in that third period, Grubauer looked really small to me, and Columbus was torching him up top. And then Holtby went in, and from my vantage point between the benches, Holtby looked 10 feet tall, 8 feet wide in net. There were no holes, and I think in these playoffs, I honestly believe there's only been one questionable goal, and there were 4 mistakes before that goal happened. It was the Jake Gensel goal in Game 1 of the playoffs, and other than that, and that was still a deflection. I think he's been battling. I think his team has, when he has had a high danger scoring opportunity against, down close, under the hash marks, in the money zone, he's come up big. He's stolen so many saves, and he's just given his team an incredible backbone and so much confidence going forward here. They've weathered the storm when they've had tough periods, and they've rewarded him with better play outside of a bad period every single time. And I don't know what they're doing when they go in the dressing room, but they're coming out fired up after a bad period.